Okay, folks, Beyond the Gates, episode 109. Look, I know it was a big deal because this was a crossover episode. I want to give it a 9 out of 10, but Ashley ending things with Andre before they began hurt me as a fan of this shipping. But my bias aside, dang it, 10 out of 10. Great episode. Good way to start off the week. Now, to be completely upfront, look, you all know I'm rather new to the soap world, so I don't know much in terms of Devon Winters and his introduction into this series. Like, I can't sit up here and go like, it's a crossover. It's more like hey, this is pretty cool. But here's the thing though. Brighton James, I hope I said that right. I'm proud of his career because I, of course, being a baby of the 90s, born in 91, I remember him as Little Richie or Richie from Family Matters. And, it's gotten to the point where he's gotten this far in his career. He's obviously more acquainted with to general audiences. He's best known for his role in The Young and the Restless. So it's one of those things where he's clearly outgrown the role that most people know him for. So the crossover was great just because of the fact that as someone who is best known myself for the Tyler Perry recaps and whatnot on my main channel, I love whenever they do crossovers and, connect shows together and whatnot. But yeah, this was great. This was great. So before moving forward, please take a moment to like and subscribe. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. And let's dive into this review. So when it comes time to catch up with Derek and Jacob, they're ending another workout at the country club, and Derek is grateful for the free passes. Going back a couple episodes when these two were coming out of another workout, and Derek was running off at the mouth about Andre, and Jacob said, "Hey, let's stop before they revoke these passes." Turns out that was his first time going to the country club gym with Jacob. So yeah, this is pretty cool. An upgrade from the one he's used to going to. But Jacob can't believe Derek didn't start training for this triathlon sooner because of the fact that he knows the only reason he's jumping into this thing is to deal with his frustrations about the Ashley situation. And Derek just says that it's over and she wants Andre and there's really nothing I can do about it. And speaking of Ashley, Shanice tells Ashley that she saw Danny and Andre together at the concert the other night. And that's when Ashley's like, "Oh yeah, I know about their little thing." And Shanice just sits there like, "Wow, I'm surprised. I mean, I didn't think you'd put up with that kind of foolishness." So that's when her mom shows up, Jan shows up, and she apologizes for encouraging Derek to discuss their relationship with her. But Ashley's actually happy about it because it was a bad idea in terms of jumping into something with a player in the first place. So she just tells her mom, just please, Mom, can we just let it go? And it's not like me and Andre are getting into a relationship. I just want to focus on my work and go from there. And speaking of the player, he and Danny are waking up at his apartment. And it turns out they didn't sleep together. They slept in different, parts of the apartment. I think Danny probably had the bed since Andre was on the couch. And so, given the fact they didn't sleep together, that's when, Danny's like, "Oh, I guess since we didn't sleep in the same bed as usual, you and Ashley must be more than just friends." And Andre's like, "Yeah, it's more to it than that. And I do want to settle down rather than have a fling. And I don't know. Ashley might be the person for me to plant roots with." So from there, he mentions how, "Look, I love this thing we have, but me and you, I get it. We were never going to settle down." And that's when Danny reassures him that, "Yeah, you're right. But the one thing I'll miss is the electrifying sex." So Andre does say that, hey, despite, the lack of intimacy, I'm still willing to be a listening ear, and Danny mentions how she appreciates it, but Ashley might not like that kind of thing. So I'm sorry if I'm like pausing a lot. It's just that it sucks because I wanted these two to work, Andre and Ashley, but unfortunately not. So, and I say not because I mean based off the fact that Ashley saw these two kissing in Friday's episode has me going, yeah, I know where this is going. So Andre mentions how despite, they're just taking things slow now, and Danny hopes that, in the long run, Andre and Ashley will be able to work things out. And he's taken aback because I can't believe you're being so chill about this. And she's like, well, guess it's time for me to deal with Bill and Two-Face Hayley. So she leaves. And we go over to Vernon and Anita. And he mentions how Martin just leaves things everywhere. Because the thing is, Anita rushes in because she hears a noise. And it turns out Martin had left his water bottle and Vernon knocked it over. And he mentions how he's kind of in a rush because he's got some meetings to attend to. So Nicole pops up, and it turns out she just went for a walk with her son. So as she's coming in, Vernon's heading out, and that's when Nicole and her mom have a moment. So now you have Anita, who's a bit worried due to the fact that Vernon is being a bit, duck and dodgy, basically being evasive about his upcoming meetings, because it's crazy to me that Anita's just stunned that Vernon would leave in such a hurry without giving her a kiss goodbye, which is so out of character. So they both agree that, hey, I think Nicole says, like, look, Daddy isn't Ted, he isn't Bill, he's not off to cheat. So they sit down with some tea or coffee, and they discuss, the concert and how well it went, as well as the great and heartfelt tribute to Barbara. So Anita has thankfully been able to forgive herself after everything regarding the group breaking up and whatnot. So it's interesting that Nicole, would have another moment of revelation that someone she grew up with, has known her entire life, have been harboring such a pain buried deep inside. So that's when Anita mentions how, that's thanks to Vernon, because of the fact that she mentions how when it comes to the Barbara situation, she talks about how she, I think this is a callback. I think this is a definite callback to when Vernon learned the truth. And Anita mentions how she set up financial trust and gave the money to Barbara's family. And they didn't know it was her. So it's interesting how things have turned out in order to not just deal with the financial, loss, if you will, of Barbara not going with the group, because she got fired, and her family did benefit. So it's just closing the chapter on closing the book on a painful chapter of Anita's past. And like I said, you would think there'd be some correlation with the fact that her mom had been harboring this enormous pain for decades, and she luckily has finally taken, the time to heal. And you look at her son, who the past 2 years has been harboring a lot of grief and whatnot, yet it's done a lot of damage and she wasn't aware of it. So, man, that's some interesting parallels there between grandson and grandma, with the mother/daughter caught in the middle. So we go over to, and this was I was kind of surprised by this, but over at Bill and Hayley's house, Bill sees his wife with Sammy, and he mentions how, hey, I'm the one who took your wife to the hospital after the whole situation at Uptown, and I just came back because she left her purse in the car. So they shake hands and Sammy leaves. So, Bill is holding his wife and she's sad but grateful she's not alone through all this. And part of me was wondering, wait, wouldn't Bill recognize Randy? But then I'm trying to think in my mind, I don't think these two have ever shared the screen together because Randy was in waiting. And after Bill gave the money to Kenny and he left the casino, that's when Randy came in a couple minutes later. So thinking back to when Martin came into, what was it, Bill's office, and he saw Joey, Detective Malone, Elon, his grandfather, his father, and Bill. Yeah, it's like what, 6 people? I don't think Randy was in the room. So I guess this makes sense as to him not recognizing Randy for who he really was. So, for now, since Bill doesn't have anywhere to go for a little bit, he asks if Hayley's hungry, and she mentions how I'd rather just lay down and go to sleep. So he carries her up to the bed, and that's when Danny shows up to apologize. And that's when Bill mentions how, what, hey, when Hayley wakes up, I'll tell her you, came to apologize and whatnot. So Danny blames herself about the situation. And that's when Bill says, like, well, Hayley did trip at the office, so that could be what happened. And there's so many factors that could have contributed to what went down. And I don't know what happened or how it happened, and it doesn't really matter, So what's funny is that yet again, you have Danny and Bill showing far more chemistry in like 2 minutes of screen time than Bill and Hayley ever had, which makes sense for numerous reasons. These two had a 30-plus year romance / marriage and started a family. Bill was just a side chick who eventually, quote unquote, leveled up to wife, but you can't turn a side piece into a main dish. It's not going to measure up. So, he's sad because he did miss their first ultrasound, and not being there at all, has left like a feeling of guilt inside of him. And he mentions how, turns out that they had a false alarm a while ago and about her being pregnant, and they were surprised to be happy about that. But he mentions how Danny, stepped up back, when she took care of their daughters and all he did was work. And the kids, because he would be gone for such a long periods of time, they would, grab onto his legs whenever he returned from business trips, just excited to see him because he missed a lot of things like walks in the park and taking them to school and telling them bedtime stories. And I didn't appreciate what I gave up. And now I don't have a good relationship with either one of our daughters, Chelsea and Naomi. And I thought that this baby with Hayley would be a second chance for that. And Danny gets emotional too. So she puts her arm on his back or his shoulder. And that's when Hayley comes downstairs and is like, wait, what? So that's when Danny notices her and apologizes about what happened. And the whole, I'm sorry about accusing you of lying. So I'm just ashamed. And Hayley just act like she's above it. Like, I don't have the energy to get into this with you. So let's just wipe the slate clean and leave them to pick up the pieces, so to speak. That's when Danny leaves, and that's when Bill apologizes for not getting, Danny out of their house sooner. So he goes to fix her some tea, and when he comes back, she admits that she's not happy he spoke to Danny in private about their situation. And that's when he says that, look, we're just talking about our history together. So I think that, we can all just try again and to have a baby. And that's when Hayley's like, look, the money that you put into that college fund, just invest it somewhere else. And he mentions like, no. I'm just going to leave it right there. And I'm not going to give up on us having a family. So I'll just go ahead and add another 100,000 to that college fund. And they kiss. And I'm just thinking to myself, what's funny about this entire situation is that I feel like, obviously, and everybody feels, I think a majority of fans feel the same way. When it comes to Hayley, this was like a long game in order to possibly scam Bill somehow, but also you weaponize this fake pregnancy and miscarriage as a method to make Danny look bad But it backfired because despite everything she did and orchestrated, if nothing else, Hayley low-key pushed Bill and Danny even closer than before. So, I don't know. She can act all pouty about Bill and Danny talking about their private business, but they got history. You can never scrub that little girl. You can't. So then we get to the sad part for me. Andre pops up at the hospital and good old Shanice is in the background watching. And he gives Ashley the picture from the red bloom that she loves so much. And he admits that, hey, me and the other, woman I was seeing, it's over. And I was ready for something real and honest. So she does hope that Andre finds what he's looking for, but it won't be with her. And the fact that they have different values, but, he doesn't comprehend what's going on. But the thing is, he was excited to make changes if the two of us can be together, but Ashley is done, and she can't keep the present, but Andre takes it and goes. So it's just one of those things where Shanice watches on, and Nicole, not Nicole, but Shanice and Ashley have a moment, and Shanice said probably the funniest line of the episode. Now, I'm not one to get in somebody else's business. Actually, I think she mentioned that earlier in regards to seeing Danny and Andre at the concert. And it's crazy because, see, the thing is, Ashley still has this issue where she doesn't open up. Now, obviously, she saw Danny and Andre, and she didn't mention it. But it's just the fact that she went so far as to, end things with Andre before they began without really explaining why. And I'm just like, wow, okay. So, it is what it is. I don't know. Maybe she feels like she was more loyal because anytime Derek tried to get things back on track between them, she would refuse. There was no intimacy. Yet she walked in on Danny and Andre, and it's like, nah, I came over there to pour my heart out, and here I see these two kissing, and then no. So it's over before it began. So basically, she's protecting herself for hurt in the long run. But, oh well, now Andre is high and dry. He ain't got nobody to get it on with. Maybe Shanice. I don't know. We'll see. But either way, we go back over to Anita and Vernon's home, and Nicole is just shocked to see her sister there, and she's sad. So Danny is beating herself up, and she's wondering why Nicole even loves her. And look, there's a million reasons why, and just tell me what's wrong. So she mentions that she couldn't move forward with Andre because of her stuck on Bill ways, and it's pathetic. So that's when she brings us the miscarriage, and Nicole feels awful about it, knowing what it's like, because remember, she's dealt with that plenty of times. Hence why Ted cheated, dumbass. So from there, Danny is yet again on Bill, he was so open with me, and for a moment there, I saw a glimpse of the man that I fell in love with, and then God help me. So, Nicole is just like, here we go again. Now, here's the crossover bit, people. We're over at the country club, and Vernon and Anita are sitting there waiting for Devon Hamilton. So it's been years since they talked to him, so obviously they've been in contact pre-Beyond the Gates. And when he shows up, they shake hands, and he says how he'll try to keep things cool. And he recalls that they met at Indigo. He was nervous about it, but Anita recalls how the club was jumping back then, and Neil tried to get her on stage, but she refused to upstage the other performer at the time. So they talk about how much they miss good old Neil, and Devon has a proposal. He live streamed the concert, and he knew he had his next platinum for his jazz label, Winter's Mood. And what he's doing is offering her a recording contract, and hey, they'd share executive producing, but of course, you'd have complete control. She's flattered, but refuses because she needs to be with family, but she offers Sharon and Tracy. And the thing is, it would shift them from jazz to R&B, and she mentions how if you wanted to, we could add Barbara's vocals and re-release our hit "Let's Get Closer." So Devon actually loves the idea, and they talk about how they can work things out. So he actually has to go, but invites them to Geno City to visit the lounge, and you could sing there. So they say their goodbyes, and I'm actually like, no. But look, I get it. It's like Anita. I'd love it if she went on and did her career thing, but I think that Anita didn't need to go on tour or revitalize her career. She needed to make peace with her past and amend the broken connections and whatnot by giving Sharon and Tracy the longevity of the articulates that she low-key ruined when she quit to go solo. So it's good to see the two ladies, on their own career, and Barbara getting re-added to the vocals, or vocals being re-added to the song. So I don't know. I feel some kind of way about it, but I get it. It was good. So as we close out the review, that's when Danny and Devon run into each other, and he asked her to put in a word for him with her mom since she turned down a record deal. And as he's leaving, she looks around and goes, "Woo!" Basically, I love to see him. I hate to see him go, but I love watching him leave. Yet again, we got Danny with the chemistry as always. And I think I saw somebody mention how, it's funny, one brief moment between Devon and Danny, and it's like she forgot all about Bill and Andre. So, folks, great episode. Man, what a way to start off the week. So, with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What other soap opera crossovers would you like to see go down in Beyond the Gates? And, do you think Danny and Bill will get closer as the series goes on? Do you think Anita will eventually get back into the music business? Or, like I said, is she just done with that part of her life? She did what had to be done for the sake of healing the past. And with that being said, I'll catch you all in the next video.